Warning, the Renegade Recruiter is not for the soft, timid, or faint-hearted. If you need permission or seek approval from your mother, spouse, mates in the pub, or anyone else for that matter, this really isn't for you. If any of what you've heard puts you off in the slightest, I advise you not to listen any further. You've been warned. Prepare yourself for the no bullshit, zero fluff. Quick, dirty, and uncensored secrets for any serious recruitment, staffing, and search business owner who wants to earn more money with less work and fewer headaches, without having to kiss ass or bend over backwards to please anyone. He's a relentless and fearless renegade who will stop at nothing to reveal the harsh, unforgiving, and brutal truth about what it really takes to succeed in this business. He's a guy people love to hate and hate to love. It's your host, Terry Edwards. The Renegade Recruiter is unleashed.
Hello. This is Terry Edwards, Renegade Recruiter, and welcome to another episode of Renegade Recruiter Unleashed. And of course, we're joined by our co-host, Drew. How are you, Drew?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm fantastic. And today our guest is Phil. I'm just going to call him Phil for the time being because he's got a surname that I probably can't repeat on here. Drew and I know Phil from, we've mentioned many times that Drew and I were a member of a elite mastermind group, and we meet in Ireland every 12 weeks. And Phil's also a member of that group. So, look, without further ado, Phil, first of all, thank you very much for joining us. And just tell us a bit about who you are and what you do, please, mate.
Firstly, thank you for having me. It's been good. I'm Phil Agostino. That's Italian. Although if anyone sees me, they'll realise I don't look it in any way. But I'm half Italian. I run an online fitness company that helps entrepreneurs and business owners improve their health, get fit, and increase their productivity without the usual diet fads and all the rubbish foods and all the living in the gym. I've been doing that for about 12 years now. Started off as a personal trainer, and over that time I've kind of honed my skills to be more with nutrition, and that's what I do now. I just coach people online, and my goal with any client is to be able for them to kind of manage their lifestyle, maintain this kind of healthy lifestyle forever. It's basically what I try to help people do, because there's so many misinformation out there. And I'm the author of a book called Loose The Flab Fast, which I've just released.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent.
So, Phil, I want to ask you more about your book and what you do as we go through the podcast. But before we get into that, tell us a bit more about your background. How did you get into being a personal trainer? How did you get into doing what you're doing now?
I got into the gym when I was about 15, and I was brutally honest. That was mostly because we wanted to get girls and not be picked on. Probably the two reasons that most guys go to the gym if they're quite scrawny. And I was never really great at sports, but I was quite good at the gym. I actually did maths and physics and design at A level because I wanted to be an engineer. And then about halfway through that, I thought, I hate this. So I took a year out after A levels and got into the gym. And I was with one of my mates one day who was also doing he'd already applied to go to uni to do a sports course. And he was like, why don't you just go to university and do sports? Like, you go to the gym. So that's how I ended up doing my sports degree, which was quite heavily focused on nutrition and exercise physiology and all that stuff. So, and exercise science. So that would kind of helped me because it wasn't based on just doing the sport. Yeah. And then when I finished university, I had a job at Asda while I was at uni. So I went back to Asda for like 2 months, and the gym next door had a job going, and the rest is history, as they say. That was kind of my path into personal training, and I've done it ever since. Which is quite good because most people don't last very long in this industry. So 12 years in it is pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah, well done. Just a note, Phil, just for the record, I mean, I went to the gym when I was younger, but not because I was bullied or to impress the ladies. I went to the gym to fight the ladies off, because that was always my problem. It was hell at time, Phil.
Well, some of us aren't that lucky, Terry.
Well, no, that's true enough.
So, Phil, I mean, you said earlier you work with business owners and entrepreneurs. My question for you is, like, why do you think health and fitness is so important for business owners?
for business owners, as of anyone, I think the most important part about being fit and healthy is, well, there are a few things. Energy is the most important thing. I mean, you know, as a business owner, you can end up doing long hours, early mornings, and if you've got, like, one of my clients recently, I was doing a video testimonial with him, and he admitted that he would fall asleep at his desk. Wow. And since working with me, he's got more energy, so that is important. Another thing that comes out from speaking to clients is that not only do they have more energy, they can get up earlier or step a bit later. They can kind of find more time in their day. So that time is they're more efficient because they think clearer. So there's that. You know what it's like when you don't eat right or you're unhealthy. You can be quite foggy headed. You can be like a bit like you just want to lie down and have a nap. And so that alertness and that ability to think quickly is important. And then there's just other things like this is not just for business owners, for anyone. It's just things like having a bad back, having sore joints. You know, we sit at the desk quite a lot. Some of us we get the pain of those things, and all those things just add up to feeling quite miserable. And I just think that affects people's productivity and how motivated. You can't be very motivated when you feel like crap. Yeah.
The other thing I'd add to that, Phil, on a serious note, is that I find on a personal level, going to the gym and keeping fit on a regular basis, like you said, has that energy. And I think any business owner, regardless of what business you're in, involves communication. And I, on a personal level, I find it affects my communication. If I haven't got that energy and enthusiasm, that comes across, and very few people want to listen to somebody if they haven't got a bit of enthusiasm and energy about them. So it's a big plus when you're fit and you're communicating, because you've got that energy.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also that somebody that goes to the gym and kind of, you don't have to be like, and with most of my clients, they don't, for people listening, I do bodybuilding competitions, so I'm quite extreme in my goals. But for those I work with, don't want to get like shredded, but they want to look good, and that confidence also comes through. You know, like you're going into a business meeting, and you can wear like a suit that's a little bit fitted, and you feel good. That comes across to people. If you are kind of a lot, you know, it's like people don't admit it, but a lot of people are quite self-conscious and have low self-esteem, even if they come across as they try not to come across that. So I think the fitness really helps with that side of things as well. So I think the combination of having energy and passion is infectious.
Yeah.
Definitely. And you need that if you're selling yourself, which if you're a business owner, you are. People buy people, don't they? So that makes up probably most of the goals that I get, and obviously longevity and not basically dying.
That's quite
high. Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important.
Awesome. Brilliant. And what are some of the sort of the biggest myths that people have when it comes to losing weight?
Man, and this is what I've gone in detail in my book. Myths, and I refer to them as diet rules. Actually, I've been writing about this quite a lot. In what I say to people is, there's so many of these diet rules that the more rules you set on something, the harder they are to adhere to. So some of the ones, like, for example, you might have somebody who, and this is quite common, people believe that, like, you have to use a low carb diet. Like, you have to cut out, most commonly, the thing I hear the most is, I've cut out bread, for example.
I've heard that a lot as well, yeah.
So you start to give people these low carb diets, especially business owners, and business owners have to go to business meetings and social events, and they have to eat foods that kind of sometimes just provided for them, or they have to live from hotels, or they might live out of airports because they travel a lot. The second you start having all these things like, you can't have carbs, or you can't eat after 6 o'clock, it starts to narrow the flexibility of your diet plan down. And then before you know it, I refer to it as kind of the moment when people just think, sod it, and they just give up. And those myths are really common. Other myths like people believe you have to go running. That seems to be quite a big myth. Certain foods are superfoods. If you have some foods, like, you can eat in abundance if you want to, and you won't gain fat. And so all these little like myths just make it so difficult for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, and the sort of the no carb thing, again, that's something that I've heard and tried to live by as well. And yeah, you're right. When you go to a hotel or you're eating out, it's almost like everything on the menu has carbs in it in some form. And it's like, it's either, as you said, you say, sod it and I'm just going to eat carbs anyway, or you're just limited to what you can have.
Yeah. You still there, Phil? Drew?
I'm here, yeah.
Okay. Seems like we've lost Phil. Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can now.
I can still hear you. Yeah, I was going to say that, just following on from that, is that the second that you do have that sodic moment, that tends to be come attached with some guilt and frustration. You know what happens? It might be a Wednesday and you'll be like, I'll start again Monday.
Yeah.
Sod it. It could be like a Tuesday and I'll start again Monday. And that is what makes it hard for business owners, especially those that travel a lot, is their approach is too extreme and they can't follow it. So they just get frustrated and give up. And then they try again. So this is kind of vicious cycle of like trying, failing. And then they never get anywhere. It's frustrating.
So, what should we be doing instead?
What I have clients doing, you don't have to, but I'm quite a big fan of what I've like kind of proposed in the book is, and how I do this with clients is, I'll give them like a calorie budget, and you can think of calories as being like money. Everyone's got a certain amount they can spend each day, and then nowadays you can just download like an app like MyFitnessPal on your phone, and that app will allow you to scan barcodes or allow you to input foods in restaurants. And what you can do is, as you eat something, you can just scan the barcode or input it and just account for it. So if I've given you 2,000 calories a day, and you can still have a sandwich, you could even, if you wanted to, in worst case scenario, you could have a pizza. And that kind of keeps people on track. And then I just guess people just to be more sensible as well. I think, like, as a rule of thumb, if you're going to eat anywhere, choose the dish that has like a protein-based, like a large proportion of its protein, so a steak and veg, as opposed to maybe pasta, which will probably be high carb, and you'll get maybe a few meatballs. So that's what I have clients do. I try to educate them that there's no such thing as a bad food. There are only really bad amounts of foods.
Yeah. So your recommendations is based on diet, and does it include exercise as well, Phil?
Yes, all my clients will get a training plan as well. We try to make that. Well, the first thing I try to get people doing is moving more. So I get all my clients to Fitbit, which is like an activity, like a watch that you wear that will track your steps. There are loads of other ones, like people listening might have like an Apple, like an iWatch or whatever. So anything that kind of tracks your steps, because like Tim, for example, one of my clients who works in London, just started to get off the tube a couple of stops early. He would get out of bed. He said it may only cost him maybe 5 minutes in bed. He would get off the tube a bit earlier. Now he's built up his steps to something like 15,000, 16,000 steps a day. So about 6 or 7 miles of walking. And he walks them fast. And we basically, for most people, moving more around the day is a really easy way to burn more calories and get the weight loss started. Yeah. And then I do try to encourage people to then do something that is resistance lifting based. So like weightlifting in the gym 2 or 3 times a week. Many of my clients actually don't even go to the gym. I get them to buy this kit off Amazon, which is like a system of rubber bands basically, and they can train in their home, or that system actually comes in a little bag and probably only must weigh a couple of kilos. And when like my other client Ray was traveling around from Toronto, he would just set it up in his hotel room and do his training in there. So yeah, they're all provided with exercise programs, but it isn't the usual you must go to the gym 6 times a week or you must go every day. We're trying to find ways to tailor that into a busy lifestyle.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, the 2 guys you mentioned there, Tim and Ray, are 2 people that Drew and I know. In terms of the exercise, is there, do you send them to exercise 3 times a week, 5 times a week? What sort of activity, what sort of level do they exercise at?
Both of them were doing weight training 3 times a week, and both of them started to enjoy it so much they added in a 4th.
Awesome.
And I think that actually happens quite a lot because, and we go back to the question earlier about the goal, the benefits, and one of the most common excuses I would guess is people don't have enough time. But when you start to have more energy and more productivity, and you start to adjust your day, you actually find more time. So I think as they were getting fitter and they were starting to enjoy it, they were like, "Oh, actually, I could find another hour in the gym because I'm only having them go for about an hour. So I guess with traveling, it might be an hour and a half, 3 to 4 times a week. if they had to, I had a client do really well with me who only trained twice a week. He did a lot of walking and he did a lot of skiing, but from a weight training kind of a gym point of view, he only went twice, and he still got really good results. He could have done probably a bit better with 3. That's kind of like, I would say for most people, it's probably the minimum.
Yeah.
3 sessions in the gym, lifting some weights, and we try to write programs that are quite efficient. So I write things like supersets. So a superset is like when you go from like a push-up to a squat without a rest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just ways of making the session more efficient and quicker, so they don't have to spend too much time there.
And Phil, what would you say to women? My wife goes to the gym, but she's always reluctant to do weight. She's got this thing about she doesn't want to look like a weightlifter. It's not attractive for a woman, and I keep trying to tell her it's not possible. But anyway, what would you say to people who've got that concern about bulking up like a?
I still have loads of clients. In fact, one of them is doing a photo shoot this weekend, a female, and I've been working for about a year, and she's completely changed shape, but she's only 1 kilo lighter, and she doesn't look anything like a man. Like before I actually started working with the kind of mostly entrepreneurs who are male, I was actually working with female bodybuilders and bikini girls, and I would have them lift no different to how I lift for myself. My girlfriend does bikini competitions, and she trains with me. The only thing we do maybe a little bit different is she won't do some of the exercises because there are certain body parts she doesn't want to make look slightly bigger. But I am yet to see, I think in my 12 years, I've seen one girl who had that kind of genetics where she grew like a man, if you want to be like that. Yeah. For most women, you won't grow very much. And I always say this, it's quite funny, and this goes for men as well. When men or women come to me in the gym and say, I don't want to get too big, I kind of under my breath laugh and think, I'm trying to get big and I'm not that big. Yeah. It's actually more difficult than you realise to get really big. So for the women listening who are maybe thinking to themselves, I go to the gym quite a lot, which is common, and they think to themselves, and they look in the mirror and they think, I haven't got the definition I want, I haven't got like a flat stomach, I've just got places that aren't as toned as I'd like. Go and lift some weights. I promise you, you'll wish you'd done it sooner.
Excellent.
Awesome. And Phil, again, one of the reasons, it's 2 reasons we got you on the show is, one, I've seen the results that you get for your clients, and again, really impressed with some of the, obviously the sort of typical before and after photos, but just as well, speaking to some of them, like as you said before, the amount of energy that they and time they somehow found in their day. I was really impressed with that. But also, but when this show goes out, it will be either the end of December or the beginning of January, which is a time where typically people have perhaps, if anything like me anyway, overindulged over Christmas, and are now looking at January thinking, okay, I want to get back in shape. What sort of tips would you have for somebody who's in that position?
For most people, I think, and I did a big section of this about this in my book, is a lot of people are very extreme. I think human beings are very all or nothing at times. So what has happened in the new year is people will go from overindulging, doing very little exercise, to then committing to maybe wanting to go to the gym 6 days a week. They cut all the breads out, all the junk food. They kind of do a complete 360, 180. And that is very difficult to maintain for a lot of people. I mean, I'm dieting for a show now, and I'm still only gonna go to the gym 4 times a week for a while. That would be my first tip, would be don't overcommit yourself to something that you don't. Ask yourself, will I be able to do this in 1 month, 6 months, 2 years, 10 years? Because if the answer to that is no, then your plan is not going to be sustainable, and you're going to be like probably 90% of those New Year's resolution people that by the end of maybe February, the gym is dead again.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Renegade Recruiter Unleashed Podcast. For show notes, additional resources, and podcast updates, head over to www.therenegaderecruiter.com.
That would be my first tip. Don't commit to something you can't do. Like we've already discussed some good tips here. Don't commit to a diet plan that you can't. So don't go to a low carb diet if you quite like carbs. don't commit to the gym 6 times a week if you've got a busy business and you've got 3 kids and a wife and you've got and you can't commit to it. So find a balance there that allows you to go, because for most people that are kind of overweight, overindulged, you will get results from doing very little. I don't mean to make it sound like it's easy, but if you're somebody that's been quite lazy over Christmas, or you haven't, or maybe this is a resolution that you've had for many years and you've never done it, then just walking more, eating a little bit less, and going to the gym 2 to 3 times a week will be better than what you're already doing. So you will move forwards. I don't think you have to suddenly think to yourself you're going to turn into like a professional athlete and go every day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And what about people who at the moment are going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week? So that I suppose they're in the habit of doing that on a regular basis. What advice would you give them at this time of the year, Phil?
For continuing to go, do you mean?
No, sorry. In terms of weight maintenance.
Okay. Yeah, I spoke about this quite a lot. I think at this time of the year, like actually, it's funny enough. I got my girlfriend moaned at me yesterday because I started dieting yesterday, and the comment I'm getting from a lot of people is, why would you diet a couple of weeks before Christmas? And my answer to that is that Christmas is only several days of this year. So those people that are already going who want to maintain their weight, I would say what I would do, for example, is how I do it myself is I'd look at the diary and think, right, I'm not gonna diet on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve. I've got 2 Christmas parties. I would almost allocate those days as days that I'm not gonna go to the gym or eat well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I would treat the rest of the month like it's just any other month. So I would try not to get sucked into that kind of, it's December, I'm going to eat whatever's going. Does that make, I try to, and that's what I try to teach clients in general. It's almost like a flexibility to be able to flip from one thing to the other.
Yeah.
That's a big skill to have, to be able to go from eating some junk food with your friends to going back to being healthy the next day, to have 3 days off the gym because you went away with your wife, to then go back. Because a lot of people, these kind of things disrupt them long term. Yeah. So that kind of flexibility to flip between kind of quote unquote a healthy and a non-healthy person is important, and that's what I have all my clients do. All my clients this year, same as every other year, none of them will diet on Christmas Day, none of them will count calories. I don't want to hear them moaning about feeling fat. I just say enjoy those several days, and then the rest of the month, business as usual in the gym, basically.
Good advice. Good sound advice.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Phil, again, one of the things that I'm like a familiar sort of pattern of everything you said is like about measuring, like the importance of measuring. Again, is that something that you see as being vital to anyone that wants to lose weight or improve their health and fitness?
I don't know if I personally do like to measure. I mean, what gets measured can get managed, as they say. Yeah. For somebody who's and I do this based on personality. So if someone comes to me who really isn't at a place where they want to measure, then I probably would just give them a list of foods to choose from. Okay. And then once they start to eat those foods, they lose some weight. And it's kind of like, it goes back to not the all or nothing approach. It's like, okay, can I just layer in new habits as we go? For most of the clients that I get that are entrepreneurial or business owners, they seem to quite like numbers. Like it always amazes me how much they love to put all the data I give them into spreadsheets. Like it fascinates me because I hate spreadsheets, but they love it. So those kind of people actually do quite like the idea of measuring calories and using an app and some technology to do it. And that works. I think that does work really well, because the only downside with not measuring is, even in studies, they do studies on this in like nutritional studies, and a lot of people will underestimate their calories like by 50 to 75%. There was one study where a woman was actually in a lab, and they would let her eat what she wanted, and she swore that she was having like 1,200 calories, and when they checked, it was like 3,000. She was eating like almost 3 times as much. And it's also when you're busy. And I know it sounds stupid, but I do it. When you're really busy, there are sometimes where I sit behind myself and think, what did I eat earlier today? Like all the days merge into one. Yeah. So I do quite like the tracking for that point of view. So I can just see the numbers, I can assess it, and I can change accordingly. If that's too much of a step for someone, then the obvious step back is, okay, I just want you to choose some lean chicken and some veg over a burger and chips. So for the majority, I think they do like the calories and the management and the tracking is good. For some it isn't. I just think, and that's my approach for everything in dieting and fitness in general is matching the plan to the person.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
As best I can. But it does, in my book, if people read my book, that is what I basically talk about. I give all the equations for how to calculate your calories for the day, your protein, your fats and your carbs. And then you can go away and you've got these numbers to look at. And you can have a chicken sandwich in the airport. You can scan it into the app and the app will give you a little pie chart. And then the next meal you can scan it in. And it just allows you to, like I said, it's a bit like having, like, if I use the analogy of money again, it's like being able to check your bank account.
Yeah, awesome.
It just keeps you from going like overboard.
Yeah, I know. I think I may have mentioned before. I used to do triathlons and I used to do a lot of swimming, and I never used to track the swims. I used to just go and I'd swim for 30 minutes, and I calculated that I was probably swimming about a mile. In fact, I wasn't. I'd over-calculated, and I was actually swimming 2/3 of a mile. Although at the time I thought I was swimming a mile. And the thing that made the difference to me is when I got an Apple Watch that monitored the amount of the distance I'd swam. That made a big difference to my swimming. Just measuring it rather than me. I was calculating it before, and I honestly had no idea.
Yeah, and you've hit the nail on the head. And that is exactly the same feedback. And there are even studies that have proven this, shown this as well with the Fitbit. Because what happens when you've got a watch on? If I've said to you, or let's say you're trying to get 10,000 steps. What happens with a lot of clients? They'll look at it and think, "Oh shit, I've only done 8,000," and then they'll think, "I'll go out and walk the dog again." It makes them think, "Oh God, I haven't done what I should have done."
Yeah.
As opposed to probably thinking like you just said, if they've had a day where they've nearly walked their amount or they've walked a bit and they're tired, it's easy to go, "I'm quite tired. I must have walked. I've definitely walked 10,000 today. I'll do more tomorrow." And for a lot of people that it just doesn't work. And for most in the studies I've seen, giving somebody like a Fitbit made them walk an extra 2,000 steps a day because they would be able to look at it and go, "Oh, that's really good."
That's interesting to say that, because I actually increased my swimming, and my swimming improved, and my duration or fitness swim improved by wearing the monitor and monitoring the actual distance.
Yeah. It's the same as in my book, or what I have clients do is in the gym I have them write down what weights they're lifting. Because what I want them to do is in the next session, I want them to think, right, last week I squatted 50 kilos, I did 10 reps, that was hard. Today I'm going to try for 12. Because if you go into the gym on a day where you feel like crap, which happens, there are days where you feel weak, it's quite easy to put a little bit less weight on the bar or to do a little bit less. Same as with your swimming. If you had a certain distance you can do in a certain time, or if somebody like a runner would track how far they run and their time. You never have somebody who runs 10Ks just go, "Oh, I don't know how quick I do it in." They always track it because they want to be able to beat the time.
That's right, actually, yeah.
And this is what I refer to as in the book as kind of very, very immediate short-term goals. These are the goals that get you these are the kind of short goals that get you to the medium goal to the long-term goal. And quite a lot of my clients talk about motivation. They get quite motivated by, same as you probably did with the swimming. "Oh, I beat the time today, or I've done a little bit more. Can I do more next time?" And that's quite motivating, and that gives you that drive to do the next thing. And you know what it is? You build momentum like that, as opposed to just thinking. The most common thing is, I say to somebody in a consultation, "What do you want to do?" They'll say, "I want to lose weight." And you think to yourself, well, there's a big distance between where you are now. We need to kind of keep you motivated to do those baby steps, and that's what the tracking does as well. I think it's a really important from a performance point of view.
Awesome, brilliant. Phil, where can we get your book from?
At the moment, I'm giving it away for free if they cover the postage, and that could be found at bit.ly/lose the flab fast -get-it-free.
So,
and that's that's basically I'll send them one. I actually need to get some more orders in. Actually, I've nearly used up all the ones I had.
Awesome. So it's bit.ly/lose the flab fast -get-it-free for a free copy of Phil's book.
Yeah, that last part has it. It's like get-it-free.
Awesome, and I'll put that in the show notes as well. So anyone,
or if not, they can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook, and I'll.
So how do you spell your surname?
The surname is Agostino.
Awesome,
brilliant. And sorry,
I was going to say, is it Phil or Philip in LinkedIn?
Phil.
Phil.
1 L. Yeah.
Awesome. So Phil, again, just want to sort of ask you a few more questions about your business now. Like, what are some of the biggest mistakes or failures that you've experienced in your own business, and how did you overcome them?
I'll tell you what one of the biggest mistakes I did was I'd done personal training I've been doing it nearly 12 years now, and I've only just changed it to what I would refer to as a business since I'm really kind of doing the daily emails when I joined a guy called Paul Mort's MMIC, and then I found John and joined Elite. So and I used to always tell myself, I still do it a little bit. I'm not, and I used to have that like inner voice that would be like, I'm not a businessman. I'm not good at business, and I think I used that for a long time to just get good at personal training. So, and that, in hindsight, I wish I looked back. I thought to myself, no, you need to study or learn about business.
Yeah, that
was a big mistake, and now obviously I'm catching up and I'm doing daily emails, and I've got a couple of mentors, and things are going really well. But that was a huge mistake, I think, and I think that was a limiting belief there. Just me thinking that I'm just a personal trainer, and that is very common in personal training. I think they are notorious for just hoping clients will find them.
I don't even think it's unique to personal training. I mean,
no.
I think everybody that gets into business does so. Not everybody. Most people that get into business do so because they're good at the thing. They're good at personal training. They're good at recruitment. They're good at coaching. They're good at, I don't know, cake baking, whatever it is. They get into business because they're good at the thing, and they spend their time getting good at the thing rather than getting good at marketing and selling the thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I used to say to yourself, and this is what most people probably do, is that looking back, I think to myself, although it is great that I've got like all this knowledge on fitness, and probably a lot more than a lot of people, because nowadays personal trainers are just doing like they're doing like, you can do a 6-week course now and you're qualified. But back when I did it, we went to university and did loads of other stuff. So there was this, you actually were forced to learn a lot more. I think a lot back then it was like, oh, if I do another course, if I learn a little bit more about this, I'll get better clients. And I think to myself, no, you unless you're going to be working with, like, for me personally, like elite athletes, I probably knew as much as I needed to know maybe several years ago. I should have then thought to myself, I can like with all due respect, it's quite easy for me to help entrepreneurs get in shape, because I've come from a background of getting bodybuilders on stage, and that's very extreme. Yeah. So when I look back, I think to myself, why didn't I just pick up a marketing book, or why didn't I learn to do, like back then, the most, and that's the same as what most personal trainers do. I think the most amount of business we did was we got some business cards printed, and we probably had a phone number and a logo printed on the back of a hoodie. Probably the second mistake is I didn't listen to John, and I probably didn't write my book quick enough. It's been a game changer. Now I've done it. I wish I'd done that a bit quicker now.
Brilliant. Awesome. And what's the sort of, again, maybe similar answer, but what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given from a mentor or someone that sort of helped you in business?
Probably write the book.
Yeah, for business. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be a good idea, but now having done it, and some of the doors that are opening in, like, wasn't like a few weeks back I was dropping off a book to one of my clients, who one of her clients turned up at the same time. Had I not had the book, I'm also pretty bad for having business cards. So in before the book, it would have been shake your hand, I'm Phil the trainer, nice to meet you. But instead, I give him a few books. Him and his dad both own companies that are like have a net worth of something like 100 million. And now in the new year, I'm going into all the offices around the country to talk about fitness. Awesome. That opportunity wouldn't have come if I just shook his hand and said, "Oh, I'm Phil."
Yeah.
The book allowed me to, like we've always said, have some authority, and it allowed me to follow up and say, "Did you enjoy the book? Can we discuss like maybe doing some coaching for your business?" And that's starting next year. So that's been huge, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah. And what happens there? The moment you've got that book, you're not another fitness trainer. You're now the expert in the sector, and this applies to any business owner in any sector, in any niche. The book then positions you as the expert, as the authority, as the go-to person in that particular niche.
Yeah. It's important because nowadays everyone's, I mean, especially in fitness, like I said, you can do one of the guys at the gym I work at did his qualification on group. He got a Groupon. It was like £20.
Wow.
And then you're even
actually.
The whole market is. I mean, everyone's a personal trainer. I mean, to the point where I don't even really call myself a personal trainer anymore. Because I feel like it's I would just call myself like a coach or a performance coach or a nutrition coach, because I'm trying to not be seen as one of those guys off Instagram that doesn't really know anything. And the book really helps that, because in personal training, the perception of fitness people is that sometimes or bodybuilders in general, that we're not very intelligent sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's been quite funny. A few times I've said to people, "Oh, do you want a copy of my book?" And I've given them my book, and they've actually looked at me and gone, "Oh, this is your book." And I've been like, "Yes, I've written." I think they maybe thought that I might give them like a pamphlet or something. So it has been great to to position me as like someone of like intelligence and of a level that's worth investing in, which is good.
Awesome.
Excellent. Well done, Phil.
Brilliant. Again, if anyone wants to get a free copy of that book, head over to bit.ly, so that's bit.ly/lose the flab fast -get-it-free. And again, they'll be in the show notes, so you can just go and click the link there.
Yeah, and the book's called Loose The Flab Fast. It's the quick, dirty, uncensored secrets to extraordinary fitness without living in the gym, or dumbass fad diets, or third world hunger. Great title there, Phil. Absolutely great. Yeah. So look, if you want to lose the flab fast, go and get the book. As I said, the book's absolutely free. You simply pay for handling and shipping, but the book itself, paperback book, will land on your doorstep with a thud. It will do.
And I was like to say, it doesn't just cover nutrition; it covers everything in there, from goal setting to nutrition to supplements. And but like I said to a few people, if you've never had another fitness book in your life, that would be the one that would cover everything.
Brilliant.
So it's definitely worth having, even if I do say so myself.
Yeah, and you did.
Yeah. Yep.
Excellent. No, that's absolutely brilliant. Look, and one thing that we know, and you talked earlier about the importance, or Drew asked the question about the importance of health and fitness and running the business. We've just found that when we talk to business owners who are disciplined, and I deliberately use that word because it does take a certain amount of discipline to work on your fitness. That tends to spill over to other areas of their life as well, including their business. And they, we can then share some things with them, what they need to do to improve the performance of the business. And they're more likely to do it. So even if you're thinking that, well, fitness isn't my thing, and I say, look, get the book and like anything else, just test some of the methods that Phil's got in there. You've got nothing to lose. Yeah, you'll lose some weight, but
yeah, exactly.
That discipline, on a serious note, will spill over to other areas of your life, including your business.
Yeah, definitely. Fitness is a gateway habit. So
yeah.
You get into that, and going back to what you said, the people that don't want to go in the gym, I've got quite a few clients that do maybe 1 or 2 gym sessions with the weights, but the rest of the time they do salsa, or they go hiking with their wife, and they do rock climbing. You don't have to be in the gym to get fit. I think that's a bit of there is a lot of benefits from doing weightlifting for as you age, from everything from like reducing your risk of diabetes to like obviously having stronger bones and joints. So it is worth having, but even if you just did that like 2 to 3 times a week for half an hour, the rest of the time could be sports or hobbies and gardening. Just move more. And I think the more you can find some things that you actually love doing, the easier it'll be.
Yeah.
Awesome. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Phil, that's been brilliant. Thanks for coming on. I found it.
Cheers. Thank you for having me, guys.
Phil, thank you very much indeed.
Cheers.
Very enjoyable, very informative. I'm very jealous of you, Phil, which apparently isn't like you to be giving something away for free, because rumor has it that's not in your DNA to give things away for free. So seriously, thank you very much for offering the book to our listeners. That's really appreciated. Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, so this is Terry Edwards, Renegade Recruiter. Until next time, take care, take action, and be relentless.